right, everybody, and welcome to the Touch of Gaming podcast, episode number 112. That's a lot. As always, I'm your host, Lloyd Hannison, and joining me, there it is, Jared Schultz. I gotta time that better.
Yeah, you've got to stretch it out a little bit. You're getting too fast.
Yeah, I found it's really weird. I've been podcasting for many, many years. I've also been listening to podcasts for just as long. But over the last couple of years, I've had less and less free time. So I've been listening to podcasts on 2x speed on my iPod. So instead of listening to them at normal speed, it's 2 times as fast. So an hour show gets done in a half hour. It's great. Except now I'm talking faster. It's the weirdest thing because I'm listening to everybody talk like this on the podcast and they're doing their thing and then it's blah, blah, blah. And now I find myself that if I don't consciously slow down my talk, I talk really, really fast, which is not how I used to do it. So I've definitely kind of like reprogrammed my brain just by listening to people talk really fast for a couple hours a day. It's the oddest thing.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Listen to everything 2x, but I don't think I'm yet to the point where I'm speaking everything faster. At least I hope not.
People like they say ums and ahs and they snap like an elastic on their wrist. I've already like given up on that. I'm never gonna stop saying between sentences and things, but I'm gonna have to find some way to stop myself from talking faster than a few words a second. When you start doing like 10 words a second, it kind of gets really hard for people to understand you. So especially if they then listen to your podcast on 2x, then it's impossible. It's like the Micro Machine Man in their ear. It's really hard to understand.
Yeah. So how you doing, Lloyd?
I'm doing really good. We didn't do a show last week. Had some last minute family health emergencies pop up. Nothing serious for anybody directly related to me, but we unfortunately had to take out and do some stuff, some family stuff, which made us not able to record, which was kind of a pain in the butt. And then I took off the next day and went down to the lake for 5 days and basically just spent time outside, swimming at the beach, getting sunburnt like crazy, and I am totally 100% refreshed. That was like one of the best holidays I've taken in a while, so I'm ready to do this, Jared.
Perfect.
What do you say we get right into the show then?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, first couple announcements. Just a reminder, we have a newsletter, which I promise I'm going to try to start using a lot more than I am for when we're doing live shows like this one right now, so we can give you people, you fine listeners at home, some warning if you want to join us for a live show. You head on over to vgpodcast.com, click newsletters at the top, and you can fill out your name and your email address, and you'll get added to the newsletter. And I try to, on Wednesdays, send out a notice for what the week's live shows are looking like. I was actually at the lake up until a few hours ago, so I never got a chance to do that, unfortunately. But I try to do that every week. So if you want to listen to the ToG or the bonus stage, it gives you a heads up onto when those live shows are.
Yeah, we're gonna try really hard to do it on Thursday, but that's always good to get that confirmation.
Exactly. We're going to try to hammer down a time slot where each and every week that will be when the show's recorded. And if we're not recording a show, maybe I could do something like play a rerun or something when we have enough video done, just so it's there. Because I know that when I didn't do a show for the bonus stage, last week, which I said was every Friday night at 10 p.m., which is what it is, I had about 5 people jump into the chat room because I looked at the RC logs and I felt really, really horrible that I wasn't able to get the word out to you people that we didn't do a show. So if you showed up, my apologies. Unfortunately, there was not a live show last Friday. So tomorrow there will be. We'll be doing a show at 10 p.m. tomorrow. I'll be rushing back from a football game, getting home just seconds prior to when we have to go on the air and record the show. So it should be a lot of fun. Hopefully there's no traffic.
Wait a minute, you don't play football in Canada.
We do. We play Canadian football, which is a harder game and has less talent, so it's not as interesting to watch as NFL to a lot of people. We actually invented football, if you can believe that. And one of the first professional football clubs in North America was actually out of Winnipeg. So we have a lot of football stuff here. We just don't have people that make $20 million a year for the 3 catches that they make. And all the other weird stuff that they do in the off season. Unfortunately, we don't get any of that stuff up here.
You're just asking for hate mail.
I am. Yeah. People like CFL football players make between like $70,000 and like $150,000 a year, which is basically you get one of the big like you get like a Manning, one of the Manning folk. Basically laces up his shoe, and he's already made more than that. So it's pretty depressing for a CFL athlete, unfortunately. But it's a good game. It's a good game to watch. All right. Anyway, this isn't the sports show. This isn't the Lloyd was at the Lake show. This isn't the newsletter show. This is the Touch of Gaming show. So what do you say we get into iOS games and what we've been playing over the last little while? Jared, why don't you go first?
All right, sounds good. So first of all, I've been playing Field Runners 2. I've been playing a ton of Field Runners 2, and the game is really, really great. I mean, it basically takes everything that was great about Field Runners, and then it takes everything that's been great about other tower defense games for the most part since then, and puts them all into one nice, neat package, gives you a ton of playtime, and then adds a few elements that you've never seen before, like the tower defense puzzle things. I've never seen that before. And it's really interesting.
I've been playing that one as well, and I love it. As much as I was burnt out on all desktop tower defense games, this has kind of brought me back, and I've gone in and bought a couple other games that I missed along the road, and I'm really quite enjoying it. I wish that it was universal. I wish it also ran on my iPad, but I'm sure they'll come up with an HD version and charge you $7.99 for it down the road. Unfortunately, it's not out yet. Otherwise, that's the one I would have bought.
Yeah, so I think that it's really, really good. I haven't quite beat it yet, so I'm not going to quite review it, but it's getting close. Really enjoying it. So if you do like tower defense, $3, it's probably already on your device, but you should go get it.
Yep.
That's the quick version. Then I have been playing Pocket Minions, and Pocket Minions I will be reviewing later in the show, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. It has some similarities to Tiny Tower, but it throws in like a medieval theme. And yeah, it's okay, but we'll talk about it later. Been playing a whole bunch more Outwitters, and you know how I challenged everyone and threw down the gauntlet 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
I have now been beat twice. So good job, listeners. You did it.
I wondered when that was going to happen. I know you said it, and I'm just like, oh my God, Jared is going to get his butt handed to him, and he's going to have to come up on the show and formally apologize to the people that he was making fun of by saying that no one could beat him.
Well, it was pretty funny because after that happened, I still won probably 6 games or so. Like I still was doing really great. But E-Feeder had a couple of games going with me. That's his handle. I know that we've talked quite a few times, but he beat me, and he beat me good. And it was pretty funny because we had 2 games going at once, and he beat me on one of them, and I proceeded to beat him back on the other one. However, I was beat by my undefeated record, and it was pretty funny because after I issued that challenge, I had a lot of games started with me.
Nice.
So I had a lot of people that were trying to take up the challenge to beat me, and I have now been beat twice by listeners. So
nice.
Good job, listeners. It was pretty funny because both of the losses happened like, I don't know, they happened right next to each other within, a day of each other.
It must have been sad for you, Jared.
Yeah, it was sad, but I still enjoy the game. It's great. I've been getting a lot more into the 2 versus 2 stuff. Mm-hmm. And the 2 versus 2, you kind of have to have a dedicated partner to play it with and to get ranked. And if I have several partners, I will get ranked with each partner separately.
Oh, okay.
Which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I've been playing it quite a bit, enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. Have quite a few league wins. I've probably cut down the number of games I'm playing a little bit, but still playing Outwarders pretty regularly. I'm really hoping to see a content update here pretty soon that will bring something new, either new maps or new team or something, because it just needs a little bit of refreshment, or else I'm going to lose interest here pretty soon.
Cool.
Then I have been playing... the last one that I'm going to talk about quick is Dragon Town. So, did you ever play Triple Town?
Yes, I did.
Triple Town was kind of a Facebook hit that then it came to iOS, and it's all about making triples, and you make 3 of something, and then they combine into 1 of something better, and then you combine 3 of those something better, and you get something better, and so on and so forth. And then you have cute little bears that are like another tree of things that you keep getting triples of to make it better. Well, Dragon Town is very similar to Triple Town. Basically, all of the functions are the same, meaning that you can go buy it or play it for free. Then you have so many turns, and once you run out of turns, you can either wait for more turns or you can unlock a limited turns to play it as much as you want. And then you can also go ahead and buy individual units, which is where it always drives me crazy because you can totally buy your way up the high scoreboard. Because if you just buy those units that you need and make your thing like master planned, then you can win the high score battle, which is kind of dumb because anytime I can buy my way up the high score, that doesn't make me happy in a game. So Dragon Town is pretty much identical to Triple Town with a medieval theme. So, first you're starting with little like soldiers, and then you get 3 soldiers. They turn into a knight. 3 knights turn into a bishop. You have these little death guys like reapers, and those combine instead of bears. But besides that, it is pretty much identical to it. And I mean, it's good. It's just not perfect because you can buy your way up. And I probably won't be playing it much more, to be honest. I probably won't ever do a full review of it just because it feels way too much like Triple Town.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you really like Triple Town, then go get this one and enjoy it. And that's it. So, what have you been playing, Lloyd?
Not as much as I would have liked. I was at the lake and basically doing family stuff and camping and boating and swimming and burying people in the sand. It was actually a lot of fun. I did play a few games that I had on my iPad and iPhone because I did bring it with me to the lake, which is kind of sad, but I had to have my tie to the real world with me out there, I guess. I played some games that had been on my device for a while, and some that were new. I guess I'll go over a few quick ones. Field Runners 2 I've also been playing. I'm not playing as much as you. I'm going through it a little bit slower than you are, but I'm still really, really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. I picked up the update for The Blocks Cometh, which is a really fun game by Halfbot, where basically you're a dude and you're basically in this world where blocks are falling down from the top of the screen and you have to avoid them, or you get squashed and you die. And it's basically kind of a high score game where you have to jump as high as you possibly can, and basically wherever you die, that's the high spot, and that's the high score that you're going for. So I've been playing that one, and an update just came out. They're calling it the iOS Community Update. What's really cool is it gives you iPad and iPad Retina support built right into it, so you can play it on your iPad in full Retina if you have one of the new iPads. Looks really amazing. It has iCade support as well, which I haven't had a chance to check out. I'm going to have to do that probably tomorrow and see how well it plays on the iCade. You know I love the iCade, so I would have, if I didn't already own it, I would have bought it just because it has iCade support. And they've added a couple different game modes. They've added a game mode that you can buy through in-app purchase for 99 cents, which basically turns it into like a Game Boy type thing, which is kind of cool. If you like kind of retro stuff, you might want to pick that one up. But they did something interesting where they included a bunch of guest appearances. So they have the review crew over from Touch Arcade is in the game as playable characters that you can unlock, which is kind of funny. There's a screenshot that Eli Hodap posted on his Twitter account where he basically unlocked himself, and he's like, this is the most meta I've ever felt in my entire life, which was kind of made me giggle a little bit with that. And there's Velocispider in it, and also the One Bit Ninja is in the game as kind of a hidden character. So if you don't own the game, it's pretty fun. If you already own it but maybe haven't played in a while, you might want to check out this update because it does add a lot of really awesome stuff to the game.
I love that crossover stuff when iOS developers get together, the indie developers, and they're like, yeah, throw my character in your game.
Totally. It makes me smile. It totally does. I love independent developers much more than the big guys, just because they have that freedom. They can just go get drunk together, and next thing you know, they've mixed their games and mashed them up together, and it's just like, okay, that type of stuff doesn't happen in the real world, but it should, because it's really awesome most of the time. I've also been playing a couple games that I'm going to be reviewing this episode. The first one is called 10 Million, so it's 10000000. That's what the actual app is called, and its icon is a 8-bit hat looking thing. It's just like the worst that you could ever do to basically show yourself on the App Store and publicize what your game isn't, is kind of what the developers did. But for whatever reason, it worked out for them, because this game is selling like crazy. It's in like the top 30 list on apps, which is pretty amazing. So I'll get into that right away. And also picked up Orc Vengeance, which I'll be reviewing later in the episode, which is a really fun game as well. But we'll get into that when I do my review.
Cool.
All right, well, let's get into the newsy part of the show. Let's talk about notable releases, stuff that's been released in the last week that I really kind of want to make mention of. The first one is a game called Agent Dash. It's a free app, and it's basically a Temple Run clone, except you're a secret agent. So you're not running away from killer monkeys. You're running into a secret lair, I guess. It's free, so there's no reason not to check it out. Apparently, it's one of the better Temple Run clones that have come out over the last little while. So if you want to play Temple Run, but not in the Temple Run setting, you might want to check that one out. Alien Breed was just released. This is a kind of a remake, re-envisioning sort of the classic. Did you ever play Alien Breed way back in the day? 91,
No.
93, depending. I think it came out in 91 on the Amiga. I had it for DOS, which I think came out a year later or 2 years later or something like that. And it's basically a top-down shooter. Basically, you're running around gunning down aliens and stuff. It was a lot of fun. It's basically re-released on the iOS App Store. If you played on your iPad, you're basically playing a redone version of a game that is like 20 years old. It's kind of unbelievable. It's done by some of the same developers as well, the same programmers, and it's $5. So if you've ever played this one way back in the day, you definitely might want to check this one out. It'll bring back a lot of nostalgia for sure. The sequel to Infinity Project has just hit as well. Infinity Project 2, 99 cents. We talked about the original one a lot on the show. It was one of Anthony's, Anthony Catazzaro, one of his favorite apps way back in the day. We talked to developers, all that type of stuff. The second one, I managed to beta test it, but I really didn't have time to really do what I really wanted to do, which was get into it and really start talking with developers. And I kind of feel bad about that. I'm really hopeful that this game is as awesome as I think it's going to be. It's only $1 right now. It's on sale for the first little while, as kind of a celebration of the sequel release. And if you like first-person shooters that aren't Halo, you might want to check this one out. It's more akin to what an old school first-person shooter would be, where there's a lot of exploration. You have to kind of know where to go, figure your way out, find your way through these levels and kill a lot of enemies while you're doing it. Graphics are better, gameplay is better, the game is bigger. Everything that the first game did, this one does it a lot better. So you'll check that one out, Infinity Project 2. Hopefully I'll be able to talk about it more in the following couple episodes as I make my way through the game. A game came out.
I think we need to talk to Anthony and have him back on.
Yeah, I might have to have Anthony for a special edition and get him on the show to do his review, because I know he's been pimping it a lot on his Twitter. He's really digging it, which is awesome. Another game came out which I thought was not real. It turns out it is real, and this is Justice League Earth's Final Defense. It's $3, and for other games from DC to come out, like you had the Batman game that just came out, which was by Gameloft. You had some other ones which were by Warner Brothers. This one came out from a company that is they're called CJ E&M Corp. And the icon has something on it that says Netmarble, and I'm like, no way is this real. But sure enough, it is. It's Justice League, so you can play as the Flash, Aquaman, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and you can basically play this top-down beat 'em up. Really bizarre that this exists. When I saw the icon and I saw the screenshots, I fully thought this was just like a ripoff, some Chinese developers putting up a ripoff to kind of to kind of make a few bucks, and before it got pulled down, like all the Pokemon crap games that came out. But no, it looks like it's a full-fledged 3D beat 'em up game. I watched some videos on YouTube, and it actually looks like it's pretty decent. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up personally, but if you want to, it's only $3. It does have a lot of in-app purchase stuff in where you can buy PowerPoints, which is what you use to upgrade your skills in the game. So if you're not gaining skills fast enough in the game, you can buy your way to superpowers, which is kind of weird because you're a superhero, so you should have all the superpowers to begin with, but whatever. So yeah, if you like beat 'em ups, you might want to check this one out.
I'm glad to hear I wasn't the only one that thought it was a complete fake or ripoff or something.
Well, because it doesn't even have like the real Justice League logo. Because my kids watch a lot of the Justice League cartoons, and I'm like, oh, no way, this can't be it. And I'm looking at the screenshots, and it's like, oh, this. Well, it has Superman, but it's not like a drawing of Superman that I've ever seen before. It's not any of the known Superman styles. And it's like, oh, okay, this has to be fake. But no, sure enough, it's real. Or at least it hasn't been taken down yet. But yeah, I'm kind of wondering what it's all about from a company called Netmarble, or it's pushing their Netmarble thing. It's really kind of bizarre.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty strange.
And last but probably least is a game called Monster Life, which is basically a game about paper monsters, which is funny because it's not by Crescent Moon, who came up with a game called Paper Monsters. This is a game that is a freemium monster breeding battle game, so I guess it's more akin to Pokemon than what Paper Monsters was. You have to take care of your monsters and raise them and do all that fun stuff. Create a monster training ground and embark on an amazing journey to fight minions of chaos is what they have on their screenshots. It's free to play, of course, with huge in-app purchase stuff thrown into it. You can buy crystals with real money, use them to speed up stuff in the game. But if you look at the screenshots, it looks exactly like some of the screenshots that came out for Paper Monsters when it was first hitting the App Store. I don't understand how Gameloft can put out a game that is ripping off the look and feel so much of a game that already exists on the App Store. It feels kind of dirty. Like Gameloft has always been the company that was kind of like ripping off other genres. Like they had the God of War ripoff, they had the Diablo ripoff, but this is like ripping off the art style. Like their main character in their first screenshot is this papercraft guy with big buck teeth and big eyes, and it looks exactly like the main character from Paper Monsters. So yeah, I think that's kind of dirty. I don't even know if I want to play the game because of that. It just kind of really upsets me. I know Crescent Moon has been posting a lot of stuff on their Twitter about it as well, which they should, because this is kind of garbage. But if you're into monster breeding games, this might be one that you want to check out. But from what I understand, you'll play for about 5 minutes before you really hit the paywall, where you have to spend real money to get crystals to then speed up all the stuff that you're doing in the game. So if you want to pay real money to breed monsters, feel free to check out I don't even know what it's called anymore because I keep wanting to call it Paper Monsters. It's called Monster Life. Yeah, Monster Life. Yeah, fun. So check that one out. All right, man, let's get into the news. This is going to be you're going to like this, Jared. This is the first one I put in just specifically for you because I know how excited you were for this game, even though you played it on your fake Canadian iTunes account. And that is Happy Street is now available worldwide. So we talked about it a couple episodes back. I'm still playing it, not as much as I was, but I'm still playing it pretty regularly. And if you want to play a great free-to-play kind of mixture between Animal Crossing and I don't want to say Farmville, maybe a Tiny Tower would be more what it's like. You can definitely download that one for free and check it out and play. It has in-app purchases for the currency in the game, but you don't really even need to do that because there's enough ways in the game to kind of win the currency. You get a certain number of currency per day by playing the slot machines. You can get more by visiting your friends and tending their villages once a day. So if you're smart about it, you can actually do all the upgrades that you need to do without actually having to spend any real money.
I'm excited that more players are going to be playing it, though, so I have more places to visit and get more of the premium currency for free.
Exactly, yeah. So it's available now, so definitely go check it out. And I think it only uses Facebook for the friends, right? Or does it use Game Center as well?
No, I think it uses Game Center.
I think it does. If you haven't, oh, Skeezix jumped into the chat room right now. Hey, Skeezix. So someone joined us. He's saying it's quiet because it is quiet. So yeah, I believe it does use Game Center. So if you're not already our Game Center friends, you can add me. I'm Dasme, and Jared is. Are you just Quacko, or you're the Quacko as well on Game Center?
I'm Quacko.
You're just Quacko.
Game Center.
So there you go. Happy Street available. Go download it. Some big news came out today, and that is Temple Run, a game that we talked about various clones coming out over the last couple of weeks. They basically announced that they've reached 100 million downloads across the Android and iOS versions of their app, which is huge, and they're celebrating with an update. So if you download the update now, it gives you Retina graphics on the iPad, which is nice because it was kind of janky before. It was like it wasn't nice to look at, but everything in the game now is Retina, which is really great. There's a new power-up, which it's called Permawings. So if you've played the game a lot, you know that there's these wings that you can basically click on and activate, and they give you 30 seconds of invulnerability. If you die, they basically bring you back onto the level. Now you can buy another weapon, or another item, which you can start or use at the start of your map when you're running, and it'll basically just disappear the first time you die, which is kind of neat. And there's some other stuff, a bunch of achievements and a bunch of other missions and things like that. Kara, my wife, basically destroyed everything in this game. There was like nothing in the game that she hadn't accomplished, or she beat every mission. She bought everything. She bought all the wallpaper and all the other skins and things like that. So I told her about that, and I'm sure that's what she's doing right now upstairs, is trying to get the last stuff that she doesn't already have. But it's up there. It's a big update, and definitely, like, congratulations to Mangi for getting this out there. It's really kind of amazing that an app that they put out has been downloaded 100 million times. That's crazy. And as a celebration, they've also basically made all of their other apps on the App Store free as well. So if you don't already own the original Amanji game, there's a couple other games that they came out that were really decent. I'll link to an article that has all of them listed. You can download pretty much everything that they've put out for free. So definitely do that and support them. Get all their apps in the top free games, so they can get a lot more downloads for all the other stuff as well. All right, moving on. Jared, I showed you this video before we started. Why don't we talk a little bit about it? And that is Firemonkeys. They revealed their next big game, which is Real Racing 3, and it looks kind of unbelievable that it's running on iOS.
Yeah, hold on. We have to tell the people who Firemonkeys are.
Because Firemonkeys is new. Basically, EA bought a company called Iron Monkeys, and they bought a company called Firemint, and I guess they didn't want to really, I guess, manage two independent developers that aren't independent anymore. So they kind of mashed them all together, and Iron Monkeys and Firemint basically came together to become Firemonkeys. We were talking before that maybe Iron Mint would have been a better name, but Firemonkeys is pretty cool too.
Yeah, and they actually came out and said that it wasn't EA forcing them to do it. It was that they actually wanted to do it,
right,
which is
right.
Cool. But the cool thing is, holy cow, this video looks amazing.
Yeah, there's really isn't anything else you can say, but wow, you need to see this. They say that it's an alpha version that or a pre-alpha version that they're showing. They're not saying what hardware it's running on, so it could be running on a PC for all we know. But the graphics look unbelievable. Real Racing 2 looked great. This game looks kind of unbelievable. The models that they have multiple cars. They have drivers in the cars. They're kicking up dust. There's reflections off the vehicles. This looks like it's going to be the best looking game on the iOS platform. It's probably going to need the next iPhone and the next new iPad to really look as beautiful as they're showing in this one. But who knows? Maybe even with the next iPhone, or even the current 4S and the new iPad, you'll be able to get some really great graphics out of it as well. But definitely, I'm linking to the HD version of the YouTube video. Definitely go watch it, and yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, your eyes will probably melt when you watch it because it just looks that good. It's amazing, and like you said, though, they have done a good job in the past at scaling their releases, so they do work on a lot of devices. They just don't look as good. So
yeah, I mean, they were the first game that really had video out, and you could play real racing on your Apple TV or through the video cable right on your television, and it was 1080p out from the game. So they know how to push a lot of pixels. So who knows? Maybe it's going to run on current hardware. The game doesn't look as good as, say, the latest Gran Turismo on your PlayStation 3, but it looks pretty damn good. It looks close to like the Gran Turismo. What was the preview version of that they threw out there? I can't even remember. But they threw out a version on the PS3 like 5 years ago, which was kind of like, this is what the game's going to be, and you could play it and check it out. And it looks really close to that. And this is running on a portable tablet. It's really kind of unbelievable that you're getting that kind of gameplay, like visuals in gameplay these days. I just can't imagine what it's going to be like the next generation. It's really going to be surprising.
Definitely.
Cool. Moving on. The last one is kind of weird. Dead Trigger. I reviewed it a while ago. Didn't really like it. It was pretty much a freemium title that they were charging 99 cents for. Well, now they're not. You can get it for free. A couple weeks ago, they announced that their Android version was going to be free because of all the piracy. They were getting like 4,000% piracy, where like 4,000 downloads for free from a pirate site for every one sale that they were making, and they wanted to get more people playing the game legitimately and using the in-app purchases, so they made it free. Seemed like kind of there was a couple articles that came out. I think one was on Touch Arcade, the other one was on like TUAW talking about it, where the numbers seemed kind of suspect, that there was so much piracy not because it was being pirated a lot, but because it just wasn't selling very much. So if you have 10 people, or say if you have 100 people that download a game for free and they only have one sale, well, that looks like a huge number of free downloads stealing the game because you've only sold one. But if you sold like 10,000 copies, that 100 would only seem like a drop in a bucket. So they were kind of saying that maybe that's the problem. I basically said in my review that this is a freemium title that they're charging $1 for, and that's why I gave it such a bad review. Well, they probably had this like as a plan forever. Basically, they were going to put it out for a month, get as much 99-cent sales as they can, and then release it for free, and then get all the in-app purchase stuff for it. But yeah, it's out. It's updated, so there's some new items that you can play. There's some new equipment that you can buy. There's some new weapons and things like that. So if I didn't scare you away with my review before, you might want to go check it out now, since you don't have to at least pay 99 cents for it. But you're still going to be paying real money to get the weapons that you want to use, or you'll be leveling up crappy weapons, which will take you forever to get to a point where they're not even as good as the stuff that you would get if you spent like a couple dollars on the in-app currency. So check it out, Dead Trigger. By the way, they also said the reason why they made it free on iOS is because of piracy as well, which I find really not true at all. But whatever, they can say whatever they want. Madfinger Games can come out with whatever story they want. They can do whatever they want with their game. So if you want to check it out and you haven't already, you can now do it for free. So do it. Are you gonna check it out, Jared?
Probably not, because I'm not much into shooters. But it looks good, and for free, like you were saying, part of the reason you docked it was because it felt like a freemium game, and now it is completely a freemium game.
Yeah, so maybe I should go back and re-review it and give it a better mark, but I probably won't.
No, too many other games to play.
Exactly. All right, speaking of other games to play, let's get into our reviews. I guess I should kick it off since I have 2 to do in this episode. Why don't we talk about a game that is really hard to say until you realize that it is 10 million is the name of the title. So a 1 and 7 zeros is what it's actually called on your iPhone. The icon, I don't know if you can see it in my camera, probably not, is this nice little hat. Oh, is it right there? Oh, it's not focusing because I turned autofocus off. But it's an 8-bit dude face without any features, so just a tan color blob with a hat on it. And so a really bad icon and a really bad name hides a really awesome title. It's $1.99 on the App Store, and it's actually there's a big story. I saw an interview with the developer on Touch Arcade actually. and it's a guy that basically his wife got pregnant. He was basically creating this game in his free time, and then he said, okay, well, in 9 months I'm going to have no free time at all, so I'm going to work really hard to release this game before my child is born. So he did it. He basically sat down and released a game, and the company's name is 88 Games Limited. As I said, the game is $2 on the App Store, and what 10 million is it's a match 3 puzzler, and you basically are matching items on the bottom screen to do stuff on the top part of the screen. So you basically wake up in bed in this game, and you don't know where you are. And all you can tell in the game is that there's a bunch of locked doors that you can't do anything with, and a big door on the bottom. And you see that your score is 0, and freedom is set to 10 million. So you don't really know what that means, but you click on all the doors, and it says that you have to repair them, but you need a certain amount of boards and stone to repair them. You don't have any boards and stone. You click on the door at the bottom, you jump out of your bed, climb down the 3 sets of ladders, and then you start a match 3 puzzle game. It gives you some objectives, so you have to do different things. Create a number of matches, kill a certain number of enemies, et cetera, et cetera. When you complete the objectives, you get score, and that's eventually how you level up. But when you start the game, it's a match 3 puzzler. I'll sort of show you what it looks like here if I can get it started, where your guy's running along the top of the screen, and then you make matches on the bottom, and when you make matches, you do different things. So at the top of the screen, you might see a treasure chest, so you need to match 3 keys to open the lock. Some of the treasure chests will have multiple locks, so you have to match sets of keys a certain number of times to unlock that treasure chest. There's also doors that you need to unlock as well. Then there's enemies, and enemies take a certain amount of damage to kill. So you have to match either magical staffs or swords. In the game, there's also there's stone and wood, which you use as things to upgrade the tower. There's also other things like shields. They give you the chance to block blows and things like that. So as you're playing the game, you're trying to defeat the enemies on the top fast enough to not die, because every time that the enemy hits you, you take damage. You don't actually have life points, but every time they damage you, you get closer and closer to the left-hand side of the screen. If you are basically at the total left-hand side, the game's over. So you then have to, you wake up in bed again, and you have to then try again, or so you keep iterating and iterating through the game. So as you're playing it,
you start all over, or do you start with the score that you already had and the levels you already had?
You basically go back to the main screen. Nothing's really changed though. So you haven't done anything. You've maybe gathered some resources. So when you're first starting off, your resources are 0. So you don't have any wood or any stone. So you're playing to basically get resources to begin with, because with the resources, you can unlock the different doors that are in the game, and the doors do different things. Like the first door that you unlock allows you to upgrade kind of, I don't want to say like magic or whatever, but it's kind of different things. Like you do more damage, or you can take more damage, or certain things give you more experience. Like I'm going to go to it right now. It looks like a guy making a muscle is what the little icon above it. So you're basically getting 20% damage to dragons is the last thing you're going to do, but you get a time bonus when you get 5 in a row, 10% more experience when killing monsters and things like that. So you basically then, for the first little bit, you're devoting all your time to getting resources to unlock the different doors. And there's 4 base items in the game, 4 base resources. There's money, there's wood, there's stone, and there's experience. So you're trying to balance what you're doing in the game to level up whichever one you need. So the different doors are weapons. So you can upgrade your weapons, you can upgrade your armor, you can upgrade your shield, you can upgrade the magical staves, and the final door that you unlock is an alchemist, which basically gives you bonuses and negatives for your playthrough. So the first one that if you activate it, you get plus 50% more stone and wood, but you get 0 experience for that run through when it's activated. So you're basically you're able to then use that to kind of to kind of play with what you want to get. So if you need more wood and stone, you can turn that on, knowing that you're not getting any experience. You're not going to be able to upgrade any of your skills that need experience and things like that. So it's really kind of hard to explain, and it's a game that you really have to kind of play to really get. I started playing it, and I'm like, oh, this is really bizarre. I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not learning anything. I'm really just kind of playing the same game over and over. And then I found that is kind of what the whole game is about. You're sitting there playing this match 3 puzzler, trying to gain resources to then unlock the doors. And once you unlock, say, the weapon upgrades, you're then upgrading your weapons. And the different doors have levels as well. So to upgrade your weapons, you unlock the blacksmith. And then you have up to 3 levels of blacksmith, so you need more resources to upgrade, which then allows you to upgrade your weapons that much more. So it's just, you're iterating, you're going back and forth, you're upgrading, you're playing the game, you're upgrading. And I don't know what it is, but this game was just so addictive to me. I've played other games like it. Like, it's similar to a lot of different apps on the App Store, for example. But for some reason, I couldn't stop playing this game. I picked it up, I played it, and it's a game where you're basically beating the match 3 puzzler in a few minutes. Unless you do really good, then maybe it's 5 or 6 minutes. But I'd sit there for like an hour at night when all the family was asleep at the lake, and I'm sitting there for like 2 hours or an hour playing it, upgrading doors, and then putting it down. The next day, every time that I had a break, like at dinner time or whatever, I'd play a few more minutes and put it away. And it's something that I became super addicted to. I finally beat it after playing it for a few days. I'd say I probably put, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 hours into the game. So for $2, I definitely got my value out of those $2. And I don't know, this is a game that I feel that pretty much everybody needs to experience. If you kind of like puzzlers, if you like match 3 puzzlers, it's a no-brainer. If you like kind of role-playing-y character building apps or games, this is totally right up your alley. And if you're just someone that's looking for something really different, you definitely should check it out as well. So that is, I guess that's my review. I can't really review too much more because it's a small game. It's a match 3 puzzler. It's not really anything that you haven't seen before. But the way that they've integrated kind of the top level where you see your kind of task scrolls up, you have to unlock a door or you have to kill an enemy. There's even bosses in here. So at each level, before you level up, there's a boss, and if you kill him, you get a lot of experience and stuff like that. So there could be like a big dragon that you have to defeat, or a tree monster type guy, and it just really gives you a sense of progression and stuff like that as you're playing the game. So I don't really know what exactly it is about this game that I love, but I love everything about it. It does everything right for some reason. So yeah, I guess that's my review of 10 Million. It's $2 on the App Store, and it gets a 5 out of 5 by me. There really isn't much else in this game that I could have wanted. It's a little bit short, I guess. That's the only thing. When you beat the game, it gives you kind of all the people that were involved with it, all the thank yous, and then it unlocks kind of an endless mode. But you can obviously reset your progress and stuff like that by deleting the app and reinstalling it if you really want to. But yeah, I'm free in the game. I'm not trapped to getting 10 million anymore. And I can go into the endless mode. You can see my "you are free" screen. I'll show that to you. That's the end game screen, playing the kind of the ending of the game. Oh, that might be spoilers if you haven't beaten it. But anyway, 10 million, 5 out of 5. I really dig it, and I think you guys will too. So definitely go check it out.
Yeah, I've been seeing it's getting a lot of press, which is good news because, I mean, sounds like well, he didn't do a great job at publicizing it. The name is terrible. The app looks terrible.
Yeah, everything about the game should fail. Like, I saw the icon on App Shopper. I was looking at it and I'm like, oh, it looks super retro. That's right up my alley. And I looked at it and I'm like, okay, I guess it's kind of like Puzzle Fighter, sort of. It's kind of like what was that role-playing game where you're matching like skulls and stuff?
Puzzle Quest.
It's like Puzzle Quest. I was like, oh, maybe, but it seems like you're only in the same screen. How good will that be? And I picked it up, and then and then I went to the lake, and next thing you know, I'm looking at my RSS feeds, and it's blowing up, and I'm like, holy crap, I have this really awesome game on my phone and I haven't even played it yet. So I went and started digging into it, and really found that I really dug the game as well. So yeah, they did a really good job. It's a great game for $2. It's probably one of the most enjoyable experiences I had on the iPhone in the last little while.
Yeah, it's a bit more like they had a game a while back, Dungeon Raid,
Yeah,
except that one was more of a high score game. It didn't have any story along with it, but
yeah,
there's some similarities there. And anyway, so yeah, just interesting to see that it's been successful.
yeah,
So
a really good game. So definitely check it out.
yeah, all right. Well, let's get into our next review. So our next review is a game called Pocket Minions, and I picked up Pocket Minions because it looked like kind of like Tiny Tower, which has all that the niceness of Tiny Tower, and I was kind of excited about that. Except that you also got to fight dragons, which you want to fight dragons. So Pocket Minions, however, while it feels a little like Tiny Tower, it's not as much fun. It's by Sinew. I have no idea how to say it. Siuyiu Limited. Anyway, so a couple of interesting things about it. Basically, you are building a tower, and in this tower, there are a whole bunch of levels, and you can build them up if you have whatever resources required. It changes based on which level it is. And then on each level, you can put different things that are worthwhile to collect. Then the couple other things you have to kind of maintain your tower. You have to make sure that you have toilets for every 8 people that you have, and then um, you have to have furnaces. Furnaces keep everything warm, which is nice. However, what happens to these toilets is they get full, and the furnaces, they go out randomly, and so you have to make sure that you have maids that are taking care of it. Well, then you also want to make money in your tower so that you can upgrade and do all that. So you want to have some of the people that make money, nobles and people that you can collect taxes from. And sometimes you'll need lumber, so you'll need the people that make lumber. And basically each guild of people that you put in takes up almost a floor, but not quite. It takes up 3 of the 4 spaces. So then on the 4th space, you can put in like a toilet or a furnace or whatever. So you build up and you get bigger and bigger, and you start doing hunters and metal people that I know that there's a word there, that miners and workshops, and it's kind of fun. But then you get kind of, I was hoping they'd be in like Tiny Tower where you can leave it and come back and collect all the different resources that you guys have collected in the meantime. However, that doesn't really work because they get 1 resource on them, and they don't start collecting the next resource until you actually take that from them. So pretty much you have to stay logged in the entire time. Then occasionally you'll build a new level and a dragon will show up, so you want to make sure you have guards, because then you get to attack the dragons. You can either attack them with your knights or with your wizards. You don't get the wizards for a few levels. So it's... And then the goofy thing is that you go and build your 1 tower, you build it up like 10 levels, then all of a sudden it's like, nope, now you're going to go start a new tower. And so you start all over, and it's kind of like... So you go back to the slower pace of the small tower and you build it up. You get it to 10 or 15 levels, and then it's like, oh, now you're going on to tower 3. And it just kind of gets annoying like that, because just when your tower is starting to produce a lot and you're able to get things rolling and move fast, that's about when you have to move on to your next one. So you keep leaving behind. And then occasionally your people will get mad. They always get mad because either they go to a toilet that's overflowing, or because they go to warm themselves up and the furnace isn't on. And if they get mad and stay mad, then they turn into robbers and start stealing from your other people, and then you can send your guards after them. And let's see what else happens. The dragons will occasionally kill your little guards that are attacking them, and then the ghosts will haunt your castle for a long time. So overall, it sounds like a lot of fun, but really it just kind of feels like a chore. Um, yeah, and then the other thing that's really drove me a little crazy was uh, it it has some bugs that have now been fixed. However, they caused a lot of problems for people who bought it early, and I'm not sure they've all been fixed or not. I really don't know. But the one that happened to me was I was in like the third tower. I had been playing it for like 40 minutes, built it up pretty good, and then all of a sudden I had to leave. I came back and my tower was still built up to the ninth level where I was at, except it was completely empty. There were no people in it whatsoever. So there's no way I can go in and gather resources to go and build a new one because there's no people producing resources. And I'm like, this is completely messed up. And I was just upset. And finally, they released an update that addressed that specific problem. And so I restarted it, play it through it. And it just, like I said, it kind of feels like a chore. There's a couple of funny things. You can like throw your minions around, but you can't throw them very hard or else they die. So that feels like a little bit like what was that? Pocket God. You can throw the minions, but that's about all you can do with them, and that's about the only way you can interact with them is go and take the stuff above their heads or throw them, and that's about it. So overall, I just can't really recommend this game. It felt like a waste of time because just when I was feeling really good about my tower, then I'd have to go start a new one, and you end up building 10 towers throughout it. And yeah, so you told me that you'd played this some, and you had a pretty funny bug.
Yeah, basically, all my people in my tower were pissed off because the toilets were dirty, but none of the toilets in the game were actually dirty and overflowing. So all my guys eventually became angry and then weren't producing any resources. And then I basically that was it. That was the end of the game for me. I had to restart that tower, and then I quit to my home screen and I held down the icon, made it go all jiggly, and then had glee when I hit the little X to delete it off my iPad because I was really, really upset at the game.
Yeah, it's just so frustrating when you invest, 20, 30 minutes in a tower, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, all the 20, 30 minutes that you just did, it's wasted and gone, and you
Especially,
lost it all.
especially since it's so slow and boring to begin with. Like it's not even fun replaying those 20 minutes to get back to where you were. It's
Yeah, the
just
beginning
sad.
part of any tower, it's like the first 15 minutes, you're just bored out of your mind. You're waiting for your stuff to produce.
Yep.
And you can go and exchange crystals, which are the premium currency, but you don't get very many crystals whatsoever. And you can go and exchange those for the resources you need, but you don't get them very much unless you decide to go and buy them. Um, yeah, so I guess I can't really recommend this game. I actually think I had planned on giving it a 3 out of 5, but the more I talk about it, I would just want to give it a 2 out of 5. So it's better now that they've fixed a couple of the problems. I don't have any confidence that they fixed them all though.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the first part of every level, the first 15 minutes you play is very boring, and I actually fell asleep like twice playing it. So that's really bad if I fall asleep playing the game.
That's not a good way to convince people to buy a game. Put on the box or App Store description what may make you fall asleep. Catch up on your
Yeah.
sleep. Play our game.
So that's 99 cents that you probably shouldn't spend.
I agree. What's your actual review score?
Final, I'm going. Well, I want to give it a 3 out of 5 because it is okay,
Mm-hmm.
but I just don't want anyone to think it's worth for them. So I'll give it a 3 out of 5, but don't go buy it.
Okay, interesting.
I think we should just, in general, 4s and 5s are the things you should go buy.
Yeah, everything else is kind of okay, but there's there's too many awesome games to deal with the okay games.
Exactly, especially in the App Store. There's so many great games that you can stick with the cream of the crop and not ever run out of games to play. So
Exactly. Cool. All right. Well, let's move on. I'm going to get into my second review, and that is for a little game called Orc Vengeance, which is $2.99 on the App Store. It's a Chilingo game. It's actually developed by Big Cave Games and been released by Chilingo. And Orc Vengeance is basically kind of a Diablo clone on the App Store for $3, and it's actually really fun. The game basically revolves around man releasing the ultimate evil on the world. The ultimate evil then kills man, so there is no more man. And then the orcs get pissed off because the world is being ransacked by these evil undead people. So they start fighting back, and then the ultimate evil basically goes and rounds up all of the war chiefs and puts them into undead hell jail, so that all of the other orcs are too weak to fight back. And then you play one of these war chiefs that is going to basically save the day, or that's kind of the story. Orc Vengeance takes place over 5 acts. Each act has 3 chapters. Some of them have 4 chapters. So it's a pretty sizable game. And basically the game revolves around you running through kind of mazes, killing enemies by tapping on them. The game is fully gesture-based. There's no on-screen controls at all. So if you want to attack something, you touch it. Your guy runs over and then starts attacking it. As you level up, you learn different spells and things as well, which is pretty cool. And they are all basically triggered by different gestures that you do. So if you want to do a special move, you might have to swipe or double tap or draw a little zigzag or draw a circle. As you play through the game, you unlock a various number of skills, and you can then assign them to whatever a gesture that you want, meaning that you can only have 4 of your special your basically special moves on active at any one time. Where that kind of becomes an issue is there's 3 different types of potions. There's a health potion, there's a armor potion, and a vengeance potion. So if you want to use your potions, they have to be set to one of those gestures as well. So you're basically really limited to what you can do with your special moves, because you might have your health or your armor. Your armor is basically your shield. Once your shield wears down, your health gets taken away. Vengeance is kind of the mana which you use to cast your special moves. So depending on the boss battle you get to, and if you're dying, you might have to have like 3 of your 4 skills as potions, so you can actually make your way past the boss. A little bit of annoying, but I was able to get through the game without too many issues, even with that kind of limitation. As you play the game, you basically gain experience points. When you level up, you can basically choose either attack, defense, greed, or vengeance to level up. You get 4 points every level up, and you can put as many points into each of those as you want, up to a maximum of 4 per level. Attack obviously increases your damage. Defense increases the amount of damage you can resist. Greed basically increases the amount of gold that you get with every gold drop. So when you kill enemies, or you open a treasure chest, or various breakable objects in the world, sometimes gold will spew forth. The more greed you have, the more gold you'll get, which is nice early on in the game, but then later on in the game you have so much gold that it's really not necessary. So I found myself not putting too much into greed, just because I knew that later on down the road it would be a waste of points. I'd be much better putting it into attack so I could kill things faster, etc., etc. There's also a full item management meta game in here, where basically as you kill enemies, sometimes they'll drop the weapons that they're holding. They can drop a shield and a sword, or just a sword. The cool thing in this game is it's unlike, like, say WoW, where you kill a boar and he's holding like a really awesome like staff. It's like, okay, this is this little furry animal and he has like this full staff in his stomach somehow. How did that happen? These guys actually drop the weapons that they're holding. So if you're killing a little imp that's not holding any weapons, the only thing they're ever going to drop is gold. Meanwhile, when you kill a skeleton that has a sword and shield, he might drop the sword or the sword and shield, depending on the enemy that you're fighting, which is kind of nice. All the items in the game are leveled, and they're also levelable. So you might get a sword that drops early on, say when you're level 5, that is really good, and you really like it. Every time that you level up, you can actually level that item up to that same level. So if you hit level 7 and you haven't leveled up your sword since level 5, you can actually go in and use the gold that you find in the game to level up the item, which gives it more damage. Sometimes it'll give it special abilities and things like that. So that's pretty cool. The other neat thing in this game is, say if you pick two of the same item up, instead of having to wait till the end of the level to go and sell it, if you already own one big cave club and you pick up another big cave club, it will actually automatically sell it and turn it into gold, just kind of saving the amount of dragging you're gonna have to do when you get to the store at the end of each level. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You have weapons and you have shields, so you can level up each individually. As you get further in the game and you're leveling up your character, some of these weapons you find will have special abilities, and basically the only special abilities that they have is plus to either your vengeance, your greed, your defense, or your attack. So if you're not spending a lot of points in greed, for example, like I said, I didn't want to, you could still use a sword that has a lot of greed on it. Like the sword I'm using right now is a level 23 sword, and it has +9 to greed. So it's increasing the amount of gold that I'm getting right now because I want to save up and get some of the higher weapons. Even though I've beaten the game, you can actually go through and replay levels after the fact as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So the game can be really easy as you go through levels. Some of the levels will have various kind of puzzles that you have to defeat. They're not, I call them puzzles very loosely because the solution is really simple, but sometimes you might need two people to press pressure plates, for example. So you actually have to go to another part of the level and find another person to come help you open the pressure plate. There's different types of enemies. There's spiders. There's magic using enemies, there's skeletons, there's even big boss battles where these enemies will basically hand your butt to you if you're not careful. So you have to figure out how to kind of make your way around the levels and defeat that. In some of the levels, there's tomes that you can read, and there's achievements for reading all the tomes in the game. There's also hidden areas, which really aren't hidden areas, but sometimes they might be hard to see that there's actually a door in areas that you can walk through. In some of those, that's where you find your special moves and things. So your special skills, like things like Berserk Attack or Shield Bash and things like that. Some of them are hidden somewhat, so you actually have to look and be careful when you're exploring to kind of get all those and things like that. But the rest of the game is a pretty much standard kind of dungeon hunt. Excuse me. You're going through the game, you're killing enemies, you're leveling up, eventually getting better equipment, and then getting to the end of the game where you can fight the boss. I say it's kind of a simple thing, but it is a lot of fun. I found myself pretty addicted to the game, wanting to see kind of, not really the story. The story wasn't really carrying me on, but I just wanted to kind of unlock the next achievement or get to the next level and things like that. There's a whole pile of achievements in the game as well. Most of them are all tied into the actual gameplay. So there's a few achievements I haven't received yet. So some of them are find specific items or kill a certain number of enemies. While others are get to like level 25 or level 30. I haven't received those ones yet because I beat the game at level 21. And to level up again, you basically have to replay some of the levels over and over again. So eventually I will get those. It's just a matter of time. When I'm bored with some of the other games that are on my iPad, I will get into it. All in all, the game for $3 gave me probably about 5-6 hours worth of gameplay. So basically pretty decent for the amount of money that you're spending on it. It's a fun game. It's probably one of the best dungeon crawlers that I played. Maybe even better than like Gameloft's Dungeon Hunter, because there wasn't any weird graphical glitches that would make me stuck on geometry. The controls take a little bit getting used to. Some of the gestures are really hard to make hit. So drawing a circle, for example, sometimes it doesn't work. So if you have your healing spell on circle, you can find yourself dying before you actually get that thing to get cast. And some other things where the walk speed in the game is really, really slow. But you can basically run by tapping and holding an area, and then you'll start running. But you only run in a direct straight line. You can't like drag your finger or anything after that to kind of reposition yourself. I found out that you can then touch somewhere else and you'll start running in that direction. But if you don't touch somewhere else before your character gets to that point in the level that you touched, you'll just stop. So you'll be running and then you'll just stop dead. So hopefully in future updates they'll maybe add a better run mechanic, make it a little bit easier to run around, because your your walking animation is really slow, and if you're just walking through the game, you'd get bored pretty quickly getting from area to area. Running's not too bad, but then again, the controls are a little bit weird there. So I'm going to give Orc Vengeance 4 out of 5. It would get a perfect score from me if they would fix the controls a little bit, make it a little bit easier to, in the heat of battle, trigger some of the either the circle or the zigzag gesture. Maybe even throw in a mode where you can put on-screen buttons if you want, for the people that are having really hard problems getting the gestures to work. Other than that, it's definitely one of the best Chilingo games that I've played in a while. For $2.99, it's a great value. I can't recommend it enough. So for me, it gets a 4 out of 5. Again, if it had perfect controls, it would get a 5 out of 5 for me, but I had to ding it a little bit for the way the controls came out. So Orc Vengeance, definitely check it out. 2 great games that I reviewed in this episode. Jared, you're going to have to check those out yourself.
Yeah, I'll have to look at them. I've been waiting to hear about your thoughts on the 10 million game, and the Orc Vengeance sounds good. So
yeah, you're shaking your laptop. You look all blurry because your webcam is all flying around.
It's because I'm getting really into my game that I'm playing while you're talking.
Awesome. I like to hear that. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us for yet another Touch of Gaming, episode 112. Definitely let us know what you think. Head on over to vgpodcast.com. There's a whole bunch of ways to get in contact with us. You can check out our forums. You can email us at vgpodcast@gmail.com, or you can call our voicemail line, which is area code 505 VGPodcast. Thanks, Jared, for joining us for another episode of the ToG.
Always my pleasure.
All right. Hopefully we'll have some pulses in the near future. We've been talking about that before we recorded. We want to start that up again now that Jared has a little bit more free time, and so do I. Maybe we'll have some of that for you in the next week or two, but you'll have to check the RSS feed to be sure of that. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us for another episode, and we'll talk to you soon. Later.
Have a bye.